First Contact Protocol. The stars stretched endlessly against the void as Captain Alina Reyes stood on the observation deck of the UES Endeavour, humanity's first true deep space warship. Her dark eyes reflected the distant points of light, while her mind processed the enormity of their mission. After decades of searching the cosmos for other intelligent life, humanity had finally received confirmation that they were not alone, and their new neighbors were coming to visit. "Captain, you're needed on the bridge," came Commander Nasir Ahmed's voice through her comm unit. His tone carried the calm precision that had made him her first choice for executive officer, but there was an edge to it now. "On my way," she replied, turning from the viewport. As she strode through the corridors of the massive ship, crew members moved with purpose. Everyone felt the weight of representing Earth on humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. The bridge hummed with activity as Alina entered. Screens displayed ship status, sensor readings, and communication logs. Stood from the captain's chair as she approached. "Report," she said, settling into her seat. "Long-range sensors have confirmed the approach of 7 vessels of unknown configuration," explained, bringing up the sensor feed on the main display. "Their formation is clearly military in nature. They'll be within communication range in 15 minutes. Alina studied the ships on the display. They were sleek, almost predatory in design, with curved hulls that reminded her of manta rays. Each was at least twice the size of the Endeavour. "Have they attempted communication?" she asked. "No, Captain," responded Lieutenant Kaida Wong from the communication station. "But we're detecting energy signatures consistent with weapons systems powering up." Alina's jaw tightened. Earth's scientists and diplomats had debated for years about how first contact might unfold. The optimists had envisioned peaceful exchange of knowledge and culture. The pessimists had warned of exactly this scenario. "Alert the rest of the fleet," she ordered. The Endeavour wasn't alone. 4 other human warships formed Earth's first defensive line: the Resilience, the Defiant, the Courage, and the Perseverance. "Bring us to combat readiness, but weapons remain cold. We won't fire first." "Yes, Captain," acknowledged, relaying the orders. Dr. Maya Patel, the ship's xenolinguist and cultural specialist, approached the captain's chair. "Captain, we should still attempt peaceful communication before assuming hostile intent. Their military posture could be defensive or even ceremonial." Alina nodded. "Agreed. Lieutenant Wong, prepare the first contact package on all frequencies as soon as they're in range." The bridge fell silent as they waited. Alina reviewed the first contact protocol in her mind. The carefully crafted messages explaining humanity's peaceful intentions, mathematical sequences proving intelligence, and basic cultural information that Earth's finest minds had debated and refined for decades. "They're in range, Captain," Wong announced. "Send the package," Alina ordered. Wong's fingers moved across his console. "Transmitting now." Seconds stretched into minutes as they waited for a response. Alina felt the tension building on the bridge. Then Wong straightened suddenly. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. It's being broadcast on frequencies matching our own communication systems." Alina frowned. How could they know Earth's communication protocol so quickly? "On screen," she commanded. The view screen flickered, revealing an alien figure. It had a vaguely humanoid shape, but with gray-blue skin stretched over an elongated skull. 4 eyes, 2 large primary ones and 2 smaller ones above them, stared out from a face with no visible nose and a small, lipless mouth. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled momentarily before producing English words. "Humans of Earth, I am Grand Admiral Zelveric of the Coraxian Imperium. Your world has been noted as unclaimed territory on the borders of our domain. The Imperium claims dominion over this sector. Submit to Coraxian rule immediately, surrender your military vessels, and prepare your world for integration into our empire. Resistance will result in demonstration of force. You have 10 of your minutes to comply." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Alina stood from her chair. Well, that answers the question of their intentions. She turned to Ahmed. Bring all systems to full combat readiness. Coordinate with the fleet to establish defensive formation Alpha. Captain, Dr. Patel interjected. Perhaps they're testing us. Many cultures use threats to gauge reactions. Maybe, Alina conceded, but we need to be prepared either way. Lieutenant Wong, open a channel to the alien fleet. When the connection was established, Alina faced the screen with the calm determination that had carried her through 20 years of military service. Admiral Zelveric, this is Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth Ship Endeavor. Earth does not recognize your claim to this sector. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. I propose we engage in peaceful dialogue instead. The alien admiral's face reappeared almost immediately. His 4 eyes narrowed. Your species is either brave or foolish. The Imperium has conquered 17 worlds. None have successfully resisted. This will be your only warning. The screen went dark again. They're powering weapons systems, reported Lieutenant Commander Raj Dhawan from Tactical. Energy readings are off the charts compared to our simulations. Alina took a deep breath. All ships, maintain formation. Deploy QED shields. The quantum entanglement defense system was humanity's most closely guarded technological achievement. Shields based on principles that allowed them to adapt to energy weapons by analyzing and countering the quantum signature of incoming attacks. Fleet acknowledges. Ahmed confirmed. QED shields active. Alina addressed the bridge crew. This is what we've trained for. The Corrections may have conquered 17 worlds, but they've never met humans before. On the view screen, the lead Correction vessel fired a brilliant beam of purple energy that streaked across space toward the Endeavor. The bridge crew braced for impact. The beam struck the QED shields, which flared bright blue upon contact. The ship trembled but held firm. Shield status, Alina demanded. Shields at 92% and holding, Dhawan reported, surprise evident in his voice. The QED is analyzing their weapon signature and adapting in real time, just as designed. Alina allowed herself a small smile. Let's show them what else humans can do. Tactical, target their weapons systems with precision strikes. Comms, inform the fleet to execute Maneuver Theta. The 5 human ships suddenly broke formation, moving in apparently random patterns that confused the Coraxian targeting systems. The aliens had clearly expected the humans to maintain their rigid formation, a mistake that revealed their own tactical inflexibility. The Corrections are adjusting their formation to compensate, Ahmed observed. Just as we predicted, Alina replied. They're following standard naval engagement protocols, which means they're about to make themselves vulnerable to our next move. As if on cue, the Correction ships formed a wedge formation, concentrating their firepower on the Endeavor as the presumed command ship. Multiple energy beams lanced out, hammering against the QED shields. Shields at 78%, Dhawan reported. They're adapting to our countermeasures faster than expected. Alina nodded. Time for Phase 2. Signal the courage and the perseverance. From the flanks of the human formation, 2 ships suddenly engaged their experimental Alcubierre drives in a way never intended by their designers. The warp bubble collapsed in a controlled fashion, creating a localized distortion in space-time that momentarily disrupted the Corrections' sensor systems. The Corrections are experiencing sensor blackout, Dhawan reported with satisfaction. Their formation is breaking. All ships target their propulsion systems, Alina ordered. Fire. 5 human vessels fired in perfect coordination, their kinetic penetrator rounds, another technology the Corrections clearly weren't familiar with, bypassing the alien energy shields designed to stop energy weapons and striking their engines directly. 2 of the smaller Coraxian vessels immediately lost power, drifting out of formation. The others quickly adjusted their shields, but the damage was done. The human fleet had demonstrated capabilities the aliens hadn't anticipated. On the Corexian flagship, Admiral Zelveric watched in disbelief as the supposedly primitive humans not only withstood the Imperium's weapons, but managed to disable two of his vessels. His second-in-command approached cautiously. "Admiral, these humans, their technology is unlike anything we've encountered. Their shields adapt to our weapons, and they use crude physical projectiles that our energy barriers can't stop." Zelveric's four eyes narrowed. "Impossible. They've barely achieved faster than light travel. They should be centuries behind us technologically. Nevertheless, Admiral, they are inflicting damage we cannot easily repair. And their battle tactics, they're unpredictable." As if to punctuate this assessment, the human vessels suddenly executed another unorthodox maneuver. Three smaller ships accelerated directly toward the Corexian flagship, while the other two launched what appeared to be thousands of tiny objects. "What are those?" Zelveric demanded. "Unknown, Admiral. They appear to be decoys. Our sensors are detecting hundreds of false signatures." For the first time in his long military career, Grand Admiral Zelveric felt uncertainty creep into his mind. These humans were not following any known pattern of space combat. They were innovating in the middle of battle, something no species the Corexians had encountered had ever done. The battle was just beginning, but already the Empire's assumptions about this new species were being shattered one by one. The unseen variable. On the bridge of the UES Endeavour, Captain Alina Reyes watched as the Corexian fleet regrouped. Their initial shock at humanity's resistance was wearing off, and they were adapting their tactics. Two of their vessels remained disabled, but the other five, including their massive flagship, were forming a new defensive configuration. "They're learning," Commander Ahmed observed, studying the tactical display. "So are we," Alina replied. "What's the status of our QED shields?" Lieutenant Commander Doan checked his readings, holding at 63%. "The system has fully mapped their primary weapon signatures and is compensating, but they're throwing new energy configurations at us with each volley." Elena nodded. The Corexians were technologically advanced, no question, but humanity had prepared for this moment differently than perhaps any other species would have. While the aliens had centuries of unchallenged conquest to inform their strategy, humans had thousands of years of fighting each other, of constant innovation born from necessity. "They're powering up something new," the one warned. "Energy readings from their flagship are spiking to unprecedented levels. All ships, evasive pattern Delta," Elena ordered. "Deploy the Nemesis system." This was humanity's ace, the neurally enhanced military expert systems integration suite. More than just an AI, Nemesis was designed to analyze alien technology in real time and identify exploitable weaknesses. From concealed bays on each human vessel, small autonomous drones deployed. Each carried minimal offensive capabilities, but was equipped with sophisticated sensors and the processing power to feed data directly to Nemesis. Nemesis drones deployed and transmitting, reported Lieutenant Sophia Chen from the operations station, beginning comprehensive analysis of Corexian systems. On the view screen, the Corexian flagship's forward section began to glow with building energy. Whatever weapon they were charging, it clearly represented their response to humanity's unexpected resistance. "Captain, Nemesis has identified something," Chen announced. "Their primary weapon system operates on a quantum fluctuation principle that creates temporary microsingularities. Highly advanced. But what, Lieutenant?" Elena pressed. "The system requires precise gravitational calibration. Nemesis suggests that creating localized gravitational disturbances could disrupt their targeting." Elena smiled. "Perfect. Commander Ahmed, coordinate with the Defiant. Have them prepare their gravitic pulse generators." As the Corexian flagship discharged its devastating weapon, a beam of concentrated gravitational force that literally bent space in its path, the human ship Defiant activated a previously concealed system. The resulting gravitational pulse wasn't powerful enough to harm the Coraxian vessels, but it distorted space just enough to send their superweapons beam veering off course, missing the human fleet entirely. On the Coraxian bridge, Admiral Zelveric slammed his fist against his command console. Impossible. How did they counter the singularity cannon? No species has ever deflected it. His weapons officer worked frantically at his station. Unknown, Admiral. They somehow predicted the gravitational wave and counteracted it. We need to recalibrate. We don't have time to recalibrate, Zelveric snarled. Target their smallest vessel with all conventional weapons. Let's see how their adaptive shields handle concentrated fire. The Coraxian vessels focused their attack on the UES Courage, the smallest ship in the human fleet. Multiple energy beams converged on its position, hammering its shields relentlessly. The Courage is taking heavy fire, Omd reported. Their shields are down to 31%. Alina's mind raced through options. Have the resilience and perseverance move to support them. Tactical, prepare our MAC cannon. The magnetic accelerator cannon was humanity's most powerful conventional weapon, a massive railgun capable of accelerating projectiles to a significant fraction of light speed. MAC charged and ready, Dawn confirmed. Target their flagship's propulsion system, Alina ordered. Fire. The Endeavour shuddered as the MAC discharged. A hypersonic projectile crossed the space between the vessels in seconds, impacting the Coraxian flagship's engine section with devastating force. The alien vessel lurched sideways, venting atmosphere from a massive breach in its hull. Direct hit, Dawn reported. Their main propulsion is severely damaged. But the Coraxians weren't finished. Even as their flagship limped, the remaining vessels intensified their assault. The Courage's shields finally collapsed under the concentrated barrage, and Coraxian weapons began to tear into its hull. The Courage is reporting multiple hull breaches, Wong announced, his voice tight. They've lost propulsion and life support is failing. Alina's jaw tightened. Order immediate evacuation. Have the Perseverance move in to cover and retrieve survivors. As escape pods jettisoned from the stricken vessel, the Coraxians redirected their fire to target them, a move that caused Alina's blood to boil. They're firing on escape pods, Omd said, disgust evident in his voice. Not for long, Alina replied, her voice steel. All vessels, execute Operation Hornet's Nest. This was the contingency they had hoped not to need, a full offensive deployment of their most classified weapon system. From concealed bays on all remaining human ships, hundreds of small, agile drones launched in swarms. Unlike the Nemesis drones, these were purely offensive, each carrying a tactical nuclear warhead with a yield precisely calculated to damage Coraxian shields without complete destruction of their vessels. Swarms deployed, Chen confirmed, targeting Coraxian weapon systems. The drone swarms accelerated toward the alien vessels, moving in unpredictable patterns that confused Coraxian point defense systems. For every drone they destroyed, 3 more penetrated their defensive envelope. Detonation in 3, 2, 1. Dawn counted down. Across the battlefield, dozens of nuclear devices detonated simultaneously at precisely calculated distances from the Coraxian vessels. The coordinated electromagnetic pulses overwhelmed their shields and scrambled their electronic systems. The aliens' weapons fell silent. All Coraxian vessels reporting significant systems failures, Chen announced, triumph in her voice. Their shields are down, weapons offline. Alina took a deep breath. This was the moment of truth, whether to press the advantage and destroy the alien fleet entirely or show restraint. Open a channel to the Coraxian flagship, she ordered. When Zelveric's face appeared on screen, the Admiral looked visibly shaken. Behind him, his bridge was in chaos, consoles sparking and crew members frantically trying to restore systems. Admiral Zelveric, Alina said calmly, your fleet is disabled. Your weapons are offline. We could destroy you now, but that is not our way. Return to your empire with this message. Earth is not to be conquered. We seek peaceful relations with all species, but we will defend ourselves with everything we have. The alien admiral's 4 eyes narrowed as he studied Alina. When he spoke, there was a new note in his voice, something approaching respect. You fight. Unlike any species we have encountered, Captain, the Imperium has misjudged humans. A common mistake, Alina replied. One I suggest you not repeat. Zelveric was silent for a long moment. We will withdraw. But know this, the Imperium will not forget this encounter. Neither will Earth, Alina assured him. The connection terminated. On the tactical display, the remaining Coraxian vessels slowly regrouped around their damaged flagship. Their engines flared as they turned away from Earth and accelerated to FTL, disappearing into the darkness of space. The bridge of the Endeavour erupted in cheers, but Alina remained focused. Casualties? She asked Ahmed. 27 confirmed dead on the Courage, Captain. Another 42 injured across the fleet. We lost 1 ship, but considering what we were facing, his voice trailed off. Alina nodded solemnly. Every loss matters, Commander. But yes, it could have been much worse. She stood from her chair. Send a message to Earth Command. First contact with the Coraxian Imperium has concluded. They came seeking conquest and left in retreat. As the message was transmitted, Alina walked to the viewport and gazed out at the stars. Humanity had stood its ground against an interstellar empire and prevailed, not through overwhelming force, but through innovation, adaptability, and the uniquely human capacity to think beyond conventional boundaries. The Coraxians would return someday, she was certain. But next time, they would approach Earth with caution, perhaps even respect. And humanity would be ready, having learned from this first encounter just as they always learned, by facing the unknown and refusing to submit to fear. In the vastness of space, a new power had announced itself to the galaxy. Humanity had arrived, and the stars would never be the same.